Live now. Okay, so hi
Yes.
everybody. Hi everybody. My name is David Tattersall. Thanks for taking the time to join us today. And this is a sort of repeat presentation of what I did before at last year's CF Summit. It's on transforming DevOps and application performance with FusionReactor and OpsPilot. So hopefully that's what you're expecting to see. So without further ado, I'll jump into the presentation. Okay, today we're going to be going over the evolution of monitoring, so how we got to where we are. Welcome to OpsPilot. So OpsPilot, we're actually rebranding FusionReactor Cloud to be OpsPilot. You can think of OpsPilot as an autonomous DevOps engineer. We're going to be looking at some of the key capabilities and benefits. Then a little bit about FusionReactor Observability platform, if you're unfamiliar with that. And then we're going to jump into a live demo, and then towards the end, show you how you can start off using FusionReactor Cloud or OpsPilot, and then we'll do a short Q&A at the end. Okay, so the evolution of application monitoring. As I'm sure anybody who's been in the IT business for as long as you guys, I'm sure you've seen everything from using logs to tools like FusionReactor, basically. It's really, from a monitoring perspective, monitoring's gone so far in the last 20 years, but I think there's still a long way to go, and it's really it's really changing at the moment. And if you think back to sort of where we were before, it relies on you to look at what you're seeing, either in dashboards or what the monitor's telling you. But right now, a big part of it is really it's relying on you to understand what you're seeing. And the situation that we've got is we've really got data overload. So there's tons of data coming into the monitors. A lot of times this is useless data. So I think one of the big things that we're focusing on is being able to really concentrate on which data is meaningful and what matters. Obviously, this data is very complex. Systems are intricate, and you're dealing with tons of metrics, logs, and traces and events, otherwise known as MELT, in the business. And also from a monitoring perspective, very often you need very expert knowledge in order to take a look at that telemetry and understand it. So in short, monitoring is not an easy thing to do. So how's OpsPilot assist with this? So OpsPilot is this autonomous DevOps engineer. OpsPilot was the name that we gave to our AI component inside of FusionReactor. Basically, the idea with OpsPilot is that it's making you much more efficient in your capacity to understand what's going on in your systems. It's providing automated AI-driven insights. So it's using its AI capability to analyze logs, metrics, and traces, and then explain that to you. And it's also trying to cut down the amount of time required to actually get to the root cause of an issue, whether that be a quality problem or whether that be something to do with performance or actually anything. Because OpsPilot has got access to all the telemetry that's being read by FusionReactor, so it's able to analyze that and really give you a very sort of holistic view of what's happening. So some of the key capabilities and benefits, OpsPilot is a member of the team. That's sort of how we look at it. you can talk to OpsPilot from inside Slack. So it's very easy to ask OpsPilot a question, just like you would another team member. It analyzes information in context. So when it's looking at something, so if you ask it about a specific error or a performance problem or a query, it will do that within the context of your application. And if it's an error, actually at the point that that error was occurring. So just like you would if you were analyzing a problem. It's multimodal, so you can talk to it. You can write with it, and you can also provide it things like screenshots, and it will analyze those screenshots to interpret data. We've got anomaly detection built in. So this uses a system called RED, which stands for rate, error, and duration. So it's looking for transactions which are long running, or looking for errors or duration related problems. And it's sort of a common way of looking at problems. And yeah, you'll see that in the demo. I'll show that to you. Like I said, we've also integrated with Slack and Teams. We wanted to provide an interface to FusionReactor and OpsPilot based on the same tools that you're using. So very often teams our customers are using Microsoft Teams or Slack, and we've enabled OpsPilot inside those applications. We've also integrated with Jira. So we've also found many of our customers are using Jira, so we can automatically create tickets and upload or post those tickets directly into Jira, and I'll show you that in a sec. It's agentic, so we've got a number of agents. For those familiar with AI technologies, you may be familiar with MCPs, Model Context Protocols, and we've built a similar framework inside OpsPilot. And this is built out of different agents, and you can think of these agents as an agent that understands databases, an agent that understands coding, an agent that understands your application, your observability data, your logs, metrics, and traces. And what we do is we combine all those agents to try and give you the best answer possible. So benefits, obviously you've got enhanced operational efficiency, so you're reducing your monitoring workload, and by having this other member of the team, we're trying to optimize how you do your monitoring. Accelerated incident response, so we're detecting and hopefully resolving issues a lot faster using OpsPilot. And we're also enabling you to gain much better actionable insights aligned with the goals that you're trying to achieve. So you'll really see when we're looking at OpsPilot, it's very focused, and usually it provides you with a prioritized list of things that you need to address in order to remediate something. Yeah, it's very helpful in sort of supporting you with that as well. And you can iterate and ask it different questions, really get into a problem. But the whole point is that it's providing insights to you to be able to achieve your goals. So the observability platform itself is, we've built it completely around AI. The platform is built using CNCF technologies. So the CNCF is the Native Compute Foundation. Things like Prometheus, Mimir, Tempo, and Loki. We're also supporting OpenTelemetry, so we can support a wide range of languages here, not just Cold Fusion and Java, but also things like .NET, Go, Python, Node. those are all supported out of the box now with FusionReactor Cloud or OpsPilot. You've got the FusionReactor monitor. So this is still the same monitor. We've made quite a few recent additions to it, but it's the same agent, providing very low-level, deep monitoring for your CF applications, also database DB monitoring. So with SQL queries, resource monitoring, so you can see things like CPU utilization, memory, the garbage collector, things like that. In order to run FusionReactor on the cloud, you need a plan. Plans start at just $49 a month, and for that $49, you get 13 months of metric retention and 30 days of detailed trace and log data retention. You also get all the capabilities of OpsPilot, so all the AI capabilities. And like I said, that starts at just $49. What we usually say is if you've got multiple servers, so more than, I'd say, 3 or more servers, it's better to go with a Pro AI plan. You get more data and more AI capability if you take the Pro plan. Okay, so just a little image there of what we're doing. So it's performance analysis, application observability, infrastructure observability, and incident response. And we've tried to take the best of breed of open source tools and combine those with state-of-the-art AI and machine learning tools. So towards the mid of last year, we changed the AI model that we're using. So we moved to Anthropic as the main AI engine that we're using. We're using OpenAI as well. So we've got OpenAI as a backup model in case there's any performance issues with Anthropic. But what we found was with Anthropic, it was the quality of the answers that it provided were really much better. It's really incredible what it can do. Okay, so let's, without further ado, let me see if I can switch the share here. And I think I need to stop sharing, and then I need to switch to this other window. Can everybody see that? Don't all shout at once. Probably nobody can. No one can shout. So hopefully you can all see that. Okay. Okay. So yeah, this is FusionReactor as you know it, and yeah, some of the changes that we've recently made here are we can change the color, so we can style FusionReactor now, so you can have it in dark or light theme. What we've also done is we've integrated OpsPilot actually into the on-premise version as well. So if, for example, I go into here and let's take an error. So hopefully we've got one here. Actually, let me show you. I'm going to show you a different one. I'll show you this, but I'm going to show you once we're inside the cloud. I've got a different example for that. So let me jump into the cloud first of all. So this is the overview screen. So here I can see how many servers I've currently got running, what my slowest transaction is, whether I've had any errors. I can see whether I've got any alerts firing. And on the right-hand side, we've got the interface to OpsPilot. So this is where I can enter questions here and just type them in, or I could paste a screenshot, or I could actually hit the microphone and use voice and talk to OpsPilot. So Like I mentioned before, OpsPilot is sort of a, I guess, a 360-degree view of your whole application space. It's not just the APM monitor that you know from FusionReactor on premise. It's really much more than that. And looking in here, you can see a number of dashboards that we've got available, and I'll just show you just a couple of these. You can see on the integrations. I'll just close OpsPilot so you've got more screen here. So for example, MySQL, pick the wrong one there, MySQL. So this is my SQL database here. So this is actually taking telemetry directly out of the database. So this is not the usual database telemetry that you would see typically in FusionReactor on-prem, where you're just looking at specific queries. This is actually using our observability agent to capture telemetry directly out of the database. And we've also got other integrations, Elastic, Kafka, node exporter. So we can actually see machine information here. And here you're looking at telemetry that's coming off a machine. So if you're using a Linux box or if you were using a Windows server, it would be possible to actually ingest telemetry from both of those types of machines. So if I go back to, let's just pull the dashboards up again, and let's just take a look at logs. So again, this wasn't possible with FusionReactor on-prem, but now you can ingest any log into the platform, into FusionReactor. And these are my error logs here that I'm pulling in from my application. I can see I can filter these on errors, warnings, or exceptions, and I can also filter them by specific labels. So if you write labels into your error files, it's very, very easy to filter on those. And with all error files, so lines inside an error file, you'll notice you've always also got linkage to OpsPilot. So in this particular case, I've got an error log here. And what I've done is by clicking on the link, I'm basically asking OpsPilot now to examine that log file and to give me a detailed analysis of what that specific log is. And you can see here, this is not related to CF. This is actually a Kafka DNS resolution failure. So that's the specific problem here. And you can see that OpsPilot has provided a very detailed breakdown. So you've got the overview of what the issue is, followed by a detailed technical analysis with the error breakdown, what the implications of this particular error are, and then priority actions and solutions. So it will usually, based on the priority, on the severity of the error, it will give you a very detailed breakdown on what you need to focus on in order to remediate this particular problem. So you can see here, it's got some bash commands that you could run to test the Kafka DNS service and what you need to do to fix the DNS configuration. So very, very detailed. Okay, so let's tour the remaining interface that we've got here. If we go and take a look into servers, actually, I'll tell you what. Before we do that, we'll look at the Explore page. This is pretty interesting. So, from a monitoring perspective, you're dealing with what they call the 3 pillars of monitoring, which is metrics, logs, and traces. And in the Explore screen here, you've got access to all the metrics which are currently being ingested. And there's, if you think with FusionReactor on-prem, we'd also got quite a lot of metrics, but nowhere near the number of metrics which are currently available in the latest agent. So as we move the agent to be completely OTel compatible, that's really catapulted the number of metrics which are currently available. You've also got the log interface. So here we've got all the different logs which are being ingested, and you can see there's loads of different logs here. And up in the time picker, I can change the period of time that I'm looking at, and you see this goes very, very quickly to render, all those different logs. If I click on the traces, so this is giving me a number of different views into the traces, and you can think of a trace as a transaction in Cold Fusion. I can look at which errors are coming up here. I can also look at the histogram by duration. So this is showing me whether I've got any outliers for transactions. I can see I've got some transactions which are actually running around about 34.4 seconds. The majority are in the millisecond range, but this histogram gives me a great overview of the spread of my transactions. And if I just drop back into Explore here, what's also interesting is we also show what's called a service map. And this is also a new capability in, just close that so we've got some more room. This is showing the end-to-end service graph of my application. So each node here, if it's green, it's good. I've got a little bit of red, but if it's red, then red's telling me I've got problems. And if I just click on that and then say view traces, this is now showing me all the traces which were related to that component. In this case, it's the checkout component in our system. And if I choose one of these traces, you'll then see I'm presented with what we call an end-to-end trace. So this is showing me all the horizontal lines are what we call spans inside that trace. And what I can do here is, you'll see there's a button. These have usually got the diamond, the AI diamond, and I can analyze that trace. And what's happening now is, for this particular trace, OpsPilot is looking at it. And in this particular case, this is sort of an end-to-end view of this service. And you can see it's going through, which was actually quite interesting. Maybe need to wait for it to finish. But you'll see its thought process. So we've encoded into the AI exactly what it's sort of thinking about, so that it can explain to you the process that it's going through in order to come up with its analysis. So in this particular case, these are usually trace analysis actions are really, really good. So you can see here, this has identified a critical issue. It's looked at the status on, this was throwing a HTTP 500. It's identified what the error is. And there's a number of issues in this particular transaction where it's identified critical performance issues. And you can see it's actually gone through and looked at each of the core components of that particular transaction. So this is made up, there's a shipping service, a quote service, a checkout service, a payment service, a cart, a product catalog, and a currency. but it's identified exactly which components are failing, which ones are slow, and which ones worked. And then it's coming up again with recommendations based on the priority order. So what you need to fix in what order, and very often as well, it will do a plan for you. So if there's multiple things to fix, it will give you time estimates, how long it takes, how long it expects you to take to fix those components, so that you can do quite good planning. So yeah, that's the integration here of the Analyze Trace feature. So let's just take a look at some of the other capabilities that we've got, which you may recognize from FusionReactor on-premise. So we're inside the cloud here. And what I'm doing, I'm looking at that. This is my demo application that I've got here, and you can see this is showing you what we call the tunnel, and the tunnel is basically FusionReactor embedded in the cloud. So of course you can go, if you go into here, you've also got just make that light. You've also got, your request history, all the capabilities, but you've also got that embedded in cloud as well. So everything that you can do with the FusionReactor interface, with the regular on-premise interface, is also included in cloud. And what I was going to show you before with the integration, I've got actually, no, that one's, let me find an error. Okay, so this one looks like an error. So I've got some error details here. And I've also got an event snapshot. You'll see on the right-hand side here, I can ask OpsPilot. I'm not sure why that's taking so long. But okay, our communications link failure, maybe that's what's causing it to take some time. But from here, I can actually ask OpsPilot. So if you're using FusionReactor, the on-prem UI, and you've got a cloud account or an OpsPilot account, then it will include the links so that you can go directly from the on-prem UI straight into OpsPilot. And you can see here, again, it's thinking. So this is the agent thinking. So I need to analyze this cold fusion trace with a 500 error. It's getting trace information. It's looking for specific database timeout patterns to understand if this is a recurring issue. And in this particular case, it's saying I can see a clear pattern here. So again, it's analyzed this DB performance issue, and once again come up with the transaction overview. And I'm not sure why that's getting a timeout. Could be my network is having some issues here. But it's what's also quite interesting in this particular case is it's identified a problem with a SQL, and it's quite a complex, with a lot of these things, these issues that we've got here are contrived. But in this particular case, we've got a very complex query that I believe we made even more complex. And that's what it's saying is the actual issue here. So query design problems, and it's actually come up with a query optimization. So it will look at the queries that you've got, and it's drawing this out in this particular case from the stack trace. It's looking at that. We do have the capability to decompile code, so that's always been a capability inside FusionReactor, and we can do that to get more detailed information. Right now, though, we're not. We don't have a mechanism in place to link your code directly with the AI. You can link your code for debugging purposes, and if you do that and OpsPilot, you ask it to look at a specific type of problem, OpsPilot can use the code in that scenario, but there's nothing in there that says, okay, point me at Git and let OpsPilot sort of loose on your code. We're not there yet. That will probably come at some point, but right now it's just using the telemetry or the stack trace information that it's got available to it. So, and this is fully compatible with FusionReactor on premise. And I'll just take this example here. And I mentioned earlier that you could use FusionReactor to create a Jira ticket. So I'm going to do that now. And OpsPilot's thinking about it. I'll create a Jira ticket for this critical database performance issue. And it's actually, it will take the information that it picked up in the error analysis, but it's also looking in and around that problem. So if it captures any information, and this could be, you know, something about running requests at the time, or if it thinks there was anything influencing the environment, what was going on at that time, then it will capture that information and put that into the ticket as well. So you can see Jira ticket has been created successfully. And if I click on that, you can see this is the database performance issue that we've got before. And it's a very, very detailed ticket that it's created here. I wish, you know, when I was writing tickets, that I would have had the ability to create such a detailed ticket. It's provided root cause analysis, what the primary issue was, recommended solutions. It's given you all the information basically that you need, also an implementation timeline, which is brilliant, and also what the business impact is. So it's also, it knows your application, and based on what you're doing inside your application, it will give you what it believes is the actual is the business impact. Okay, so let's switch back into here. Let's take a look at the application screen. So with the application screen, one of the big differences with the cloud environment and an individual on-prem version is that we're able to aggregate data across multiple servers. So with FusionReactor on-prem, you're always looking at an individual instance, but with the cloud, this could be pulling data across multiple servers, and we're combining that data here. So you can see I've got time taken for various different transactions, what the average was, and this is average across, again, if you've got multiple servers all running the same application, which is very common in Cold Fusion, this would give you the average time across all machines. Also the same with things like throughput. And if I change the time frame here, you could see that went really, really quick. I said, show me the last 3 hours, show me the last 6 hours, and it's pretty much instant when it comes and looks at this data. And this is also one of the big advantages with cloud. If you think about FusionReactor on-prem, you're limited to the last 100 transactions. That's not the case with cloud. So obviously we've got storage in cloud, and because of that, you can look back along an extended time frame, and it will provide you the detailed data across that whole time frame. So very, very useful, especially when you're investigating a specific issue. So one of the challenges with FusionReactor on-prem, you do have the ability to it's storing logs, so you can go and look at the where is it now? The crash protection events. I'm just looking for the activity. Oh, the archive metrics. That's it. There it was. You can always go and look in the archive metrics for what was going on. And here we're storing logs, and these are rotating every hour. But it's just not as rich as if you went into FusionReactor Cloud, and you can actually you can take an error and drill into an error and see all the actual transaction details, even though that transaction was potentially captured days ago. So it's obviously a big advantage there. So let's just take a look, just swing back to, actually, let's just show you the anomaly detection real quick. I mentioned that earlier. So we've got, with the anomaly detection, this is acting sort of as a if it sees anything where it thinks you've got an error coming up, which normally you might miss. And let's just check, see what I've got here across the last 3 hours. Okay, so I can see I've got a number of errors which have been coming up here. And if I click on one of these, let's go on and go straight into the errors. So I brought my server up here, and as soon as I brought it up, it started basically generating errors. And the peaks here, this is where the anomaly detections determine that we've actually got an anomaly. And you can see, looking at this, it's given me 100% probability that I have an anomaly. And I do, because I know that I've got a number of errors here. And if I click on the show error traces, these were the error traces that were occurring at that moment. And if I click on one of these, then I get the details about that. And again, from here, I can also click on Analyze Trace, and that will give me a similar analysis of that particular error. If I go back into the Explorer here, one of the things that I'm sure everybody will recognize from FusionReactor is the server cubes. So these were in here. These were the cubes in the dashboard. And we've interpreted this inside the cloud. And if I just click on one of these, what you'll see here is you get the UI tunnel, but we're also able to look at specific server metrics, at trace data, at logs coming off the server. And what's also really interesting, one of the features, just let me see whether I've got, yeah. So I've got some crash protection reports here. So I'm sure you're quite familiar with FusionReactor's crash protection. So crash protection, if you've got a long-running request, are you running out of resources, then you can configure FusionReactor to generate a crash protection event. And if you're using the cloud, these events now are automatically sent up to the cloud. And once you've got this up here, you can also ask OpsPilot. So you can see all the information here. This is the information that typically you would get in the email, which is generated for a crash protection. So everything's still available. But from here, you can just click on the Ask OpsPilot, and that will take that, that crash protection event with all the information that was included, and it will analyze it on the fly. So that's also really, really interesting. So let's just take let's go back into servers here. Just let that guy finish. Another interesting point here is actually you can also see the history. So the history here, I've got a few things running, as you can see, but you've also got access to all the interactions with the AI. that you've had in today, or in the last 7 days, or actually the last 30 days, or even beyond that. So you can see I've got a full history here going back into December, November, of all the interactions that I've had with the AI. So if you were looking at something and you think, oh, what was that problem that we were investigating, you would be able to go back into OpsPilot and find it and take a look at that. And if you just click on one of these, it gives you the complete breakdown of exactly what you were looking at. So let's just go into here. What I very often do when I'm talking to customers is I ask them, if you could ask your systems anything, what would you ask them? And very often customers say, okay, they're very interested in performance problems, and here, give me the top 3 performance problems related to my application. And what OpsPilot is doing now is it's analyzing all of the telemetry, the logs, metrics, and traces, and it's investigating whether we've got any alerts firing, which services are running for each service, whether I've got any specific performance problems. So yeah, you can see, again, it's explaining itself here. It's thinking. It's looking for active alerts at the moment. And I think the point here is that instead of looking, sort of starting with multiple dashboards, or you're drilling into different views to try and find where your problems are, OpsPilot, essentially you can just ask it, and OpsPilot tells you sort of what matters, why it matters, and where to look. And very often it will actually give you the solution, what you need to do in order to fix a specific problem. So here, the top 3 performance problems. Problem number 1, extremely slow database query timeouts. Then we've got on this update quote CFM, we've got an endpoint performance degradation. And the final one is this application logic errors. So there's 3 specific issues here. It's highlighted one as being critical, one as being poor, and the other one as degrading the system. So really very, very detailed information that it's giving you there. And yeah, I'd say very, very useful. And you can ask OpsPilot anything. I'm not sure if you can see this actually. You may not be able to see it. I've just pulled Slack up. I was going to demonstrate Slack, but because I'm not sharing the whole screen, I'm only sharing the window. I don't think you'll be able to see that. But like I mentioned before, you can still put questions into Slack or Microsoft Teams, and it will provide the same level of answers as you would have by going straight into OpsPilot. Okay, so that is the demo over with. I'm going to switch back to the slides now, and I need to stop sharing again and then share my other window.
Just a quick heads up, David. We have 8 more minutes left.
8 more minutes, great. Okay,
yeah.
So that's fine. Thank you. Thanks for letting me know. Okay, so I put this slide in there. This is we're a Gartner customer, and there's been a lot of research and a lot of, I'd say, encouragement from Gartner to companies to utilize artificial intelligence also with relation to observability systems. So this is an area that Gartner is really recommending. There's, like I said, quite a bit of research. This recommendation comes straight out of this using generative AI to enhance observability, which was from September last year. And I would really sort of encourage people to, if you're a FusionReactor customer already, or if you're thinking about using FusionReactor, really do try the AI. Ask it questions, ask it difficult questions, and then let us know whether it's it's been able to help you. We really do think it does help. But like I said, from Gartner are also encouraging customers to try out the AIs. So AI-driven observability, change is coming. Change is actually now. We've got AI-driven observability. It's here and now. It's enhancing your capabilities to provide AI-driven insights. We do really believe it's got a real-world impact. So it's available now, and we really see, and the feedback we get from our customers is really that once they've used it, they've seen what's possible. It's transformational. It really is. It's incredible what it can do. And start small, move fast. So discover what OpsPilot can do for your monitoring mission. That's sort of what's coming from Gartner. But really try it. And if you're not a FusionReactor customer already, you can go download a trial, and you've got 15 days of FusionReactor goodness where you can try out OpsPilot and really see what it does. If you want to, this was what we'd included with the when we were at the event. We were actually offering customers a 30-day full access trial, and I'm happy to still offer that. So if you send us an email and you say that you've been on the Adobe event today, then we can also create you an extended trial, and we can also help you on board and really, sort of help you to get going with it. And that will give you a great opportunity to, to try out FusionReactor and OpsPilot. And that's it. The end. We're at the end. So if anybody's got any questions, and hopefully I'll see here whether, do I see any questions?
There are a few questions in the Q&A pod.
Okay. Where is the, do I see the Q&A? I'm just looking to see. So do you mean in chat or?
Just above chat. There is another.
Yeah, okay. I don't see in my Q&A, I don't see any questions.
Okay, just a minute. Let me.
And we before I forget, we've got thank you to Adobe. We've got a $50 voucher, and if anybody's would like to win that voucher, the question is, how long has FusionReactor been around? So last year we celebrated an anniversary. What was that anniversary? If anybody could, first person to write into the chat, I guess, as one will win the prize. Okay, whoa, stop. Monty Chan got it right with 20. I'm assuming you mean 20 years. And that's the correct answer. So Monty,
right,
Monty Chan.
Congratulations. I will be sending you the voucher.
Yeah, so Monty said yes, years. So well done, Monty. So last year we were actually celebrating our 20-year anniversary. So that's great that you got that so quickly. Oh, and then no, that's not true. It started in 2005 and it's now 2026. We'll maybe need to see whether we've got a bonus gift. So it is that's true as well. But it was December, so it's pretty much we celebrated 20 years. But in reality, it's 21. We're into the 21st year. Okay, so we've got people adding 1 to 20. Matt, good job. Right, let's go back.
I have put one of the questions in the
How many
chat.
developers use Cold Fusion now? How many developers use Cold Fusion now? Okay, that's maybe a question for Adobe. I mean, what we see is that there's, did you mean Cold Fusion or did you mean FusionReactor? If you meant Cold Fusion, then that's a question for, hang on, if you meant Cold Fusion, okay, how many developers use Cold Fusion? Thousands and thousands of developers. I mean, we've got thousands of machines which we're monitoring with FusionReactor. I would still say there is a very healthy Cold Fusion community out there. I mean, you've got to think as well about Adobe. You know, they're supporting that platform, and they've got a plan to support it into the future. So we know there's still a lot of companies using Cold Fusion, and it's still thriving and still a very useful technology. And Tim says, not quite as old as Java or Python. That's true. Doran's been using it since it was a layer. We've been using it that long as well. Yeah. So any other questions? Do I need cloud in order to get the OpsPilot capability? Do I get any OpsPilot with on-prem license? You need the cloud in order to get OpsPilot. So if I think you saw from the demo, if you're running the on-prem version, you can see linkage to OpsPilot, but you do need you do need the OpsPilot, so that a cloud license in order to get to OpsPilot. It's not included if you've just got on-premise, then it's not included just on-prem. Okay, any other questions? Do I need cloud accounts? I've answered that one. Here's what I put into the queue. Given that we would be sending a lot of data to the cloud, is the cloud portion FedRAMP such that we can make a secure connection from government servers? We support, I don't know if you sort of recognize from the demo, it's actually built using Grafana. And what is possible if you're a government customer, it would be possible to take a Grafana enterprise account, which runs on the government supported sites. So FedRAMP, for example. And you could then, if you've got FusionReactor, the agent, you can actually configure the agent to send the telemetry, logs, metrics, and traces up to your Grafana endpoint, which would mean that we could send our telemetry up to an environment that is it's government approved. But there is a but with that. We don't, because that's running on Grafana's enterprise environment, OpsPilot is not included. So OpsPilot is only a part of our implementation. And the other screens that you've seen are our implementation. But the thing I showed you with the Explorer, so the traces, the profiles, those would actually be available on Grafana Cloud, but not OpsPilot. So that is the difference there. What else have we got? Given that we'll be sending, so that was that one. Okay, yeah. So there's a lot of I'm doing Jira, I'm doing Cold Fusion, which is great. A lot of positive comments around that. The Jira ticket thing is lovely. Any chance of the same for ADO boards? You would need to, we can take that as an input. One thing that I sort of requested, but they've not done it yet, is the ability to create a ticket just so that you can copy and paste it. And then we actually use Linear. We use Jira as well, but we mainly use Linear now for tickets. And I think it'd be a great enhancement to be able to create the ticket and then just cut and paste it and put it into whichever system you're using. So, yep. So
we have a couple more questions. I could mail them to you.
Yeah.
We're
Okay.
a little late for the next session.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just seeing whether they're in. If there's anything quick. Or do we need to jump off now? Probably we do. Yeah. Just mail them. If you mail them with whoever they came from, then I'd be happy to answer those for you. And like I said, if you wanted to do a cloud trial, then just mail us in, say that you attended this event, and we'll set you up with a 30-day full access trial. Okay.
Thank you, David. Thank you for kicking off online summit and with a great session. We'll be back in 5 minutes with our next session with Dave Ferguson.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great. Okay. Thanks a lot. Thanks everybody for attending. Great. Thank you.